your Storm Tracker 22 forecast, certified most accurate by WeatherAid.
We're starting our Sunday off with a clear radar, and it's going to be a super sunny Sunday for us. Make some outdoor plans. Enjoy this forecast. Heading out at Hilton Head right now, a little light breeze. It's going to be out of the west-southwest today, 5-10 miles an hour. 64 out at the coastline, and you see those 60s for many of us close to that coastline. And then a little further inland you go, you're going to find those mid to upper 50s heading out. Just a nice start to our Sunday morning. Like I said, that wind, not too much. You can see it already starting to come out of the south. You combined that southwest flow with all that sunshine, and we're going to quickly be in the upper 70s to low 80s by lunchtime, finishing the day in those inland areas in those mid to upper 80s. 88 for you in Glenville. Many of us from Sylvania to Statesboro, Claxton, Baxley, Alma, right around 86 for a daytime high. No surprise if you're from here. A little cooler out at the coastline. That Atlantic, it is still on the cool side, right around 62, 63 degrees. So that means you're going to top out in the upper 70s like Sapelo Island, right around 79, 78 for you out at Skidaway, compared to if you're getting out in Savannah, 87, and that's what we find for Pooler and Richmond Hill as well. Up in the low country, well, you're going to try to get right around the upper 70s, low 80s at the coast compared to those mid to upper 80s for those inland areas with all that sunshine. And tomorrow, even warmer. But we are tracking a cold front. Now, not going to affect us today or tomorrow, but by our Tuesday, that's when we're going to feel that front having moved through. And Monday actually does bring us a little bit of a rain chance as we get into the later part of the day. But you can see still starting the work week off with a lot of sunshine. And then here comes that front. We definitely need the rain. We're either in an extreme drought or a severe drought across the entire area. But the rain chances, well, they're just not that great. 20 to 30% is all we're expecting. You can see those very spotty showers trying to develop, but mainly wanting to stay out over the Atlantic. Now, temperatures are warm, but Lydia, not record-setting warm. 1907, it was a very warm year. Today and tomorrow, that's when the record was set at 93 and 94. But we're still going to have upper 80s compared to where we should be in the low 70s. But back into the 60s as we get into that middle part of the week.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Well, President Trump is threatening to deploy ICE agents to airports if an agreement isn't reached to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Now, Trump's threat comes as TSA agents continue to work without pay, leading to airport delays from staffing shortages. Take a look at this video here. This is travelers at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport waiting in hours-long lines due to this weekend's shutdown. Now, Saturday, the Senate tried once again to pass a funding bill.
This vote today is different from what our colleagues on the other side have offered. It is a breakthrough because it says fund TSA only, fund TSA with no strings attached.
That standalone bill failed to pass. TSA workers still remain without pay. Now to the Middle East with the latest on the war in Iran, with the conflict entering a new critical phase. ABC's Patrick Reevell is in Doha with new message from U.S. military leaders.
Whoa.
Tonight, an Iranian missile slamming into a residential neighborhood in southern Israel. Israeli authorities saying nearly 40 people wounded. And in an attempted show of military strength, Iran reportedly firing 2 missiles at a US-UK airbase, thought to be out of its reach.
This is a warning shot.
Iran reported to have fired 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles at Diego Garcia, the joint American military base in the middle of the Indian Ocean, 2,500 miles from Iran. One of the missiles failed in flight. A US warship also fired an interceptor at the other, sources told the Wall Street Journal. Reaching the base would mean Iran may possess ballistic missiles with a much longer range than Tehran has previously acknowledged, although it's unclear how far the missiles travelled. The British government, though not confirming the missile's launch, calling the attack reckless.
There are 2 messages here. The first message is our capabilities are kind of large enough, long enough to reach into Europe even. But secondly, this is demonstrating that those, as well as the drones and the small attack vessels and the mines, are still something that they possess.
The US and Israel, meanwhile, launching fresh strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, including the Natanz enrichment site. Iranian state media saying no leakage of radioactive material was reported.
The US Central Command declined to comment on any attack on Natanz, but insisted that the war is making progress.
Iran has lost significant combat capability over the last 3 weeks. We are taking out thousands of Iranian missiles, advanced attack drones, and all of Iran's navy, which they use to harass international shipping.
Thousands of additional US Marines and sailors are headed to the Middle East, including a second Marine Expeditionary Unit, fueling speculation of a potential ground operation around the Strait of Hormuz. In Iowa today, 2 US service members killed in Kuwait were laid to rest. Major Jeffrey O'Brien and Sergeant Declan Cody, alongside 4 others, were killed in a drone attack. Patrick Reevell, ABC News, Doha, Qatar.
The time is now 6:17. Still to come, a viral music video lands rapper Afroman in the middle of a legal showdown. How a sheriff's raid turned into a courtroom battle, and the verdict now in.
And welcome to sports. I'm Corey Howard. Now, the Georgia Bulldogs see their March Madness run come to an end in the first round of the tournament after an overtime thriller. Georgia would be outscored. This game would eventually go into overtime. The score at that point would be 11-2 in overtime. And the final score in this game comes out to 82-73. The Dogs are out. Meanwhile, South Carolina's women's basketball team had their foot on the gas. The Gamecocks started the game on a 15-0 run against Southern. This game quickly got out of hand, and South Carolina Well, they produced one of the biggest blowouts in tournament history, winning by 69 points. Joyce Edwards led the team in scoring. She scored 27 points. Now, if you ask me, this would be the game of the day. Clemson taking on Southern Cal. The deep three from Mia Moore in the fourth quarter puts the Tigers back in front, but the Trojans answer right back. The drive would lead to an and one, and this game would end up going into overtime. And Jazzy Davison, well, she had a pair of clutch threes down the stretch. She scored a game high of 31 points, and Clemson falls 71-67. Savannah Ghost Pirates trying to make a playoff push. Coming into tonight's matchup, they were the 4th seed in the South Division, a spot they need to hold on to if they want to make the Kelly Cup playoffs. Now, the Savannah Ghost Pirates taking on the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, and a team that's trailing them in the standings but close on their heels. A defensive battle early in this game. This is going to be Vinny Purpura with the save, and there will be more where that came from. This time, it's going to be Cole Frazier with a shot from the Swamp Rabbits, and Purpura with another save. And that's why the game is still tied at 0 in the second period. Still in the second, and the Ghost Pirates get the break they need. It looks like Nick's shot goes behind the goalie, but the Swamp Rabbits goalie actually keeps it out. And this one was so close that the refs would take a second look at it, and we'll give you a second look at it in slow motion as well. Ultimately, this ruled that the puck did not cross the line, and the Ghost Pirates stay at 0. So with that said, in the end, the Ghost Pirates end up falling as the Swamp Rabbits scored 3 goals, and the final score in this one, 3-0. That's a look at sports. Stay with us.
From a look at sports to a look at your forecast. Today, highs in the mid to upper 80s. Now, as we get into the early part of the week, late Monday into Tuesday, isolated showers and thunderstorms going to be possible. But then heading into the second half of the week, mostly sunny and warm. Today, off to a nice start, upper 50s, low 60s this afternoon. Lots of sunshine, topping out in those mid to upper 70s or 80s. And this evening, clear skies, Lydia, going to stay in the 70s.
See it. Thanks so much, Melissa. Well, now to a viral moment involving rapper Afroman. He's now at the center of a major legal battle, and a jury has made its decision. What started with a sheriff's raid right at his home later turned into music, sparking national attention and ultimately a lawsuit from deputies in Adams County. Now, those same deputies have lost their case in court. Reporter Jay Shakra has the story.
It wasn't really about Afroman as much as it was about America.
Jonathan Cunningham, who goes by DJ on the One, is a producer and DJ for rapper Joseph Foreman, known by his stage name Afroman. Cunningham remembers when the now viral creation all began, returning from a show to see video online of deputies inside Afroman's home.
We was coming back from a show from Cleveland, and he was headed to Chicago. I was headed back home. When I got home, I looked at my phone and seen police running all through his crib on the Instagram. And I'm like thinking, maybe he just shooting a video. I don't know. I look in the comments, I realized, oh, this is real.
It's after these events where Adams County deputies were executing a search warrant that the seeds were planted.
He happened to see a TikTok video. We wasn't even thinking about this. He saw somebody commenting on the lemon pound cake.
Within 2 weeks, Afroman had a full album. Inspired by the raid footage and fueled by his own security cameras. During the raid, where no evidence of the alleged drug trafficking or kidnapping was found, Afroman says deputies damaged his home and took property. The project ultimately led to Adams County deputies filing a nearly $4 million civil suit, claiming the artist defamed them. Wednesday, a jury sided with Afroman.
It put innocence in the trauma. It was like lemon pound cake is now a symbol for American justice, and that's gangster.
Cunningham says that for them, music is more than entertainment. It's a form of expression. And in this case, it was a way to hold those in power accountable.
You said y'all were fighting for justice through art.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Why that way?
Because that's all we had since slavery, man. Since slavery, that's all we had was a song. I'm actually probably gonna bet that Afroman is probably gonna have more to say too. So
I think so.
We'll see. Cause I'm sure he's not done yet. I'm sure he's just getting started.
The time now is 6:26. Hawaii's worst flooding in 20 years. See how the National Guard was sent in to evacuate residents and rescue hundreds.
And the Low Country. You're watching WJCL 22 Morning News, the one to watch.
Right now on WJCL 22 Morning News, a proposed property tax reform is sparking pushback for Statesboro leaders. Coming up, how it could impact funding for public safety. President Trump is ready to send ICE agents into airports. And this morning, Robert Mueller, former FBI director, dead at 81 years old. A look at his life and legacy in your news at 6:30. And first, let's see what it looks like outside at the start of your day. This is downtown right now. You see nobody really there on Bay Street as we start off Sunday, but a clear start there as we look at the Talmadge Bridge. And thank you for starting your day with us right here at WJCL 22 Morning News at 6:30. Good morning. I'm Lydia Blackstone here with meteorologist Melissa Hall. And Melissa, we were just talking about the beach. Today would be a good day to get out if you didn't get to go yesterday.
Yeah, you said you made it out there yesterday.
I did.
It wasn't too packed.
A little tan from it yesterday.
I love
it wasn't too bad.
I love it. Yeah.
It really wasn't. It's all about finding a spot. I went out to Tybee like I normally do and found a good parking spot. So if you do, it makes for a good trip.
Yeah, and if you can't make it out today, maybe you can play hooky tomorrow because forecast
right?
even warmer then. But today it is going to be a warm one. Great beach day. This is where you're going to find me later out on Broughton Street, and you can see a quiet, calm start to the day. A little light breeze as we take a look there from Leopold's Ice Cream. You see that flag moving just a little bit. Skies nice and clear for you, and temperatures, they are comfortable heading out the door. It may be only the the second full day of spring, but we're going to be feeling more like summer by this afternoon and walking out to upper 50s to mid 50s and low 60s to mid 60s across the area. Little light breeze out of the west southwest today, 5-10 miles an hour. You can combine that with all that sunshine. We should be at 72. Lydia, we're going to be double digits warmer than our average high temperature. 83 out at the coastline, 88 in those inland areas, and tomorrow even warmer for us. Some of those inland areas want to try to get to 90, but by Tuesday we watch those temperatures fall 20 plus degrees because of a cold front, and that brings some rain chances with it too. We're going to track it out and time it out coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Well, President Donald Trump is threatening to send ICE agents into our nation's airports. It's an effort to sway Democrats in a long-stalled debate over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. The department has been partially shut down for more than a month as negotiations over immigration enforcement reforms continue. Our Washington correspondent Jackie DeFusco joins us live. And Jackie, tell us more about this new pressure tactic coming from the White House.
President Trump says that he is prepared to send ICE agents into airports, Lydia, starting on Monday, so tomorrow, if Democrats don't agree to a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security again. Now, it's not exactly clear how this would work yet, but President Trump wrote on social media Saturday that these agents would, quote, do security like no one has ever seen before, including the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants. The top Democrat on the House Homeland Security Committee calling this a, quote, tool of fascism and accusing President Trump of manufacturing chaos at airports for political leverage. Of course, wait times at airport security lines, they've been growing since DHS funding first lapsed more than a month ago, and that has forced TSA agents to work without pay, and that's going to be the case until this partial shutdown ends, presumably. Democrats still demanding new restrictions on immigration enforcement before fully funding the department. They have proposed only funding TSA, for example, while talks continue, but Republicans rejected that push on Saturday as the Senate met for a rare weekend session. Now, there has been some movement on negotiations in recent days. A bipartisan group of lawmakers, we're learning, has been meeting, but just at least so far, a compromise has not emerged from that group, so something to watch in the coming days. All this, of course, coming as DHS may soon be under new leadership. The Senate could vote to confirm President Trump's new pick to take over that department as early as this week. That pick, of course, Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin, and we are learning that the Senate will take presumably the first procedural vote at some point today. Back to you.
And Jackie, we want to ask you this as well. Even after officials fully funded DHS, there's still some concerns that they would face workforce challenges. What are you learning about that?
Yeah, and that concern stems from the fact that TSA agents have faced a number of prolonged paycheck disruptions just over the last several months due to various partial government shutdowns or full government shutdowns, and that's obviously taking a financial toll. The Department of Homeland Security posted on Saturday that now more than 400 of those agents have decided to leave the force, and they say that that is going to have a lasting impact on their ability to meet passenger demand, because they say when they get a new recruit, it takes 4 to 6 months to train them. Back to you, Lydia.
All right. Thank you, Jackie, for that report. Now to Statesboro, where city leaders are taking action against a proposed property tax reform measure. They say the legislation could do more harm than good. House Bill 1116 looks to cap how much cities can raise property taxes without any voter approval. Officials say property taxes are a key part of the city's budget, especially when it comes to public safety.
Property taxes make up a third of that $27 million. So only $9 million is collected as property taxes. I'll give you two departments, the fire department and the police department. The fire department's budget is $8 million. The police department budget is $12 million. So those property taxes do not cover the two services that most people pride themselves on.
There's also concern that the proposal wouldn't provide real tax relief. They say it could just shift those taxes elsewhere. City leaders ended up passing a resolution on Tuesday urging state lawmakers to reconsider the measure. The bill is still making its way through the Georgia State House. Help is on the way to improve the gridlock on the main path on and off of Hilton Head Island. WJCL 22 News' Sabrina Lee tells us more about the next step for the US 278 eastbound bridge project.
Crews are expected to begin a geotechnical exploration project as part of the US 278 eastbound bridge replacement project. The barge has arrived and is expected to begin drilling soon. It's a critical step in the process of facilitating flow on and off the island. This will help engineers understand the ground conditions before construction begins. The good news for drivers, this phase won't impact your commute. All of the work is happening from the water outside of travel lanes. Once complete, the new bridge will replace the current eastbound spans over McKay Creek and Skull Creek, while the westbound bridges, still in good condition, will remain in use. This project is just one piece of a broader plan to upgrade the entire US 278 corridor, with future improvements still dependent on funding. For residents who live in the area, access to neighborhoods won't change, but for those in Mariners Cove, you'll see a new connector route and a new intersection signal. Reporting on Hilton Head Island, Sabrina Lee, WJCL 22 News.
Speaking of commutes, let's take a look at some of those drive times. Want to take the pup out to Caligny Beach and get some steps in? 14 minutes from Bluffton out to Hilton Head. Want to go catch a beautiful sunrise, maybe out at Tybee Island, which is just around 7:20 this morning. Only going to take you 18 minutes from downtown, Lydia, and you see that green on Highway 80 and on 278? Well, we're seeing it across the entire area.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Still to come, from a Marine to an FBI director, Robert Mueller has died at 81 years old. Coming up, a look at his career and his role in the Russia investigation. Plus, Hawaii's worst flooding in 20 years, how the National Guard is being sent in to evacuate residents and rescue hundreds.
A live look from our Skyview 22 camera, looking at Chatham Parkway here in Savannah. Beautiful start to the day. Temperatures feeling nice as you head out the door. Low 60s, and today all of us back into the 80s, and we're going to keep that around for tomorrow, but then a big cool down and some rain chances in the forecast. Details after this, but you can check out those details whenever you want. All you need to do, get that WJCL 22 News app.
Your news, weather, and the hits of the 80s, 90s, and more on Rewind 1079. Your Storm Tracker 22 forecast, certified most accurate by WeatherRate.
Have you already been outside this morning, maybe to take the dog out? Well, then you know how nice it feels. A very mild start to our Sunday. Temperatures ranging from the mid-50s there in Jessup at 54, which is the coolest we're seeing, compared to 61 in Statesboro. And we see a lot of 60s out close to the coastline. 61 for you in Savannah as well, compared to 63 in both Hilton Head and Tybee this morning. Taking a live look from downtown Savannah, notice the flag there on City Hall. Yeah, it's blowing a little bit, and we're going to have a lot of sunshine today. We're also going to have that breeze coming in, and you can already see it starting to come in out of the southwest, and we warm up quickly. Our feel like temperature goes from those upper 50s to low 60s into the upper 70s by lunchtime before topping out in the 80s for all of us this afternoon, except out of the coastline. You'll see some of those upper 70s to low 80s for a daytime high. And this is how we start our work week, keeping those 80s around. Tomorrow, a touch warmer than it is today. Now we'll have a few more clouds coming in tomorrow, and we actually have a slight chance of rain in the second half of the day. And Tuesday, we're going to keep that very slight chance of rain that we definitely need with those drought conditions around. But we don't keep the 80s around. That front that brings that light chance of rain starting tomorrow afternoon into the evening and lingering through Tuesday into Wednesday. Well, look at what it does. We go from 87 today and 88 tomorrow to mid-60s, well below average compared to well above average where we are. Now, those overnight lows, with the clouds starting to roll in, well, they're going to stay above where we should be. We should be at 50, and we've even got some 60s in the forecast as you head out the door. Out at the coastline, you're going to feel that cool down as well, back to the 60s for both Tuesday and Wednesday. But then, Lydia, that sunshine comes back into play after those rain clouds get out of here, and by the end of the work week, we're going to have those 80s return before we get a little bit of a cool down heading into next weekend. A little bit more seasonable, but definitely right now, not feeling like we're in springtime, feeling more like we're in summertime. But those rain chances, I wish they were greater because we definitely do need that rain.
We turn now to extreme weather happening in Hawaii. Hundreds of people have been rescued after catastrophic flash flooding slammed Hawaii's Oahu, triggering evacuation orders near the Wahawa Dam on the North Shore. Now, Governor Josh Green says this is the state's biggest flooding event in 20 years after a second major storm in a week hit already saturated ground. Now, crews have rescued 236 people, including some pulled off of rooftops, and about 10 people were treated for hypothermia. Evacuations were later lifted as water levels at the dam began trending down, but officials say the dam is still being monitored and more rain is expected. The flooding has damaged homes, airports, and hospitals, cut off roads, and the governor warns total damage could top $1 billion statewide. Robert Mueller, the special counsel who conducted the first major investigation into President Trump, has died. He was 81 years old. CNN's Wolf Blitzer looks back at Mueller's attempts to stay above a fray in Washington and how hard that became at the end of his career.
If you are not honest, your reputation will suffer, and once lost, a good reputation can never, ever be regained.
Attorney Robert Mueller's reputation in government was virtually unquestioned until he got the most controversial assignment of his career.
We have major breaking news right now. The U.S. Justice Department has just named a special counsel in the Russia investigation.
The job? Investigate alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential race, the race Donald Trump won. Mueller was a Princeton grad, a decorated U.S. Marine who served in Vietnam. After law school, he became a litigator, a federal prosecutor who worked his way up the ranks. And in 2001, President George W. Bush tapped him to be the 6th director of the FBI.
To enforce our nation's laws fairly and with respect to the rights of all Americans.
Mueller was confirmed unanimously by the Senate and sworn in on September 4th, 2001, 7 days before the event that defined much of his tenure. After the 9/11 attacks, Mueller led the Bureau into the war on terror.
We will leave no stone unturned
Mueller was respected by both Republicans and Democrats and continued to serve through the first term of the Obama administration, turning over the reins of the FBI to James Comey in 2013.
I have found him to be a man of honesty, dedication, and integrity.
But President Trump fired Comey in 2017, and 8 days later, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced that Mueller would investigate the Trump administration as special counsel. It set off a flurry of unprecedented criticism of Mueller, starting from the commander-in-chief.
Mr. Mueller is highly conflicted. In fact, Comey is like his best friend.
A message driven home by right-wing media messages and the president's own tweets. All the while, Mueller kept quiet, letting a series of indictments do the talking instead. 2 months later, Mueller completed his report. He finally broke 2 years of silence.
The Constitution requires a process other than the criminal justice system to formally accuse a sitting president of wrongdoing.
The lack of a direct conclusion on obstruction frustrated Democrats. Mueller reluctantly appeared before a House committee and declined to go further than his report.
Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
Without producing a smoking gun, Mueller retreated back to private life. A public servant who survived wounds in Vietnam, but found the partisanship of the Trump era especially bruising.
The time now is 6:47. From porch to pantry, a Georgia nonprofit collects food donations from porches to help families